All right, I was waiting for somebody to make this one. I'm excited. Trial of the Golden Witch, tier list
This
maker.
is probably the best idea for a Digibro related tier list, besides maybe the anime that you've given a 6 on Mal.
I
Because
liked that
that one
one.
was really, really interesting, and you could really kind of delve into the.
Well, it was also a lot of fun to do the one of just all my videos.
That one took so long!
Took
But
three
yeah, I mean,
hours.
the results at the end were incredible.
Hey, let's not discount the possibility that this one will also take 3 hours, depending on how much debate and/or depth we have
This
to go
isn't
into.
gonna take 3
Well,
hours. There's 2 rows.
I'm excited to do this one specifically with you because even more so than my actual videos, I know you've spent time with these. Like, you were a fan of my music,
Yeah.
and that was a big part of how
I
we
still
got
am
together.
a huge fan of your music.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that you probably haven't listened to it as much since we've been dating because we mostly listen to just whatever I play, and I don't play my own music that often.
I mean,
Although at the same
yeah.
time, you did hear a lot of these songs get created, so you heard them like incessantly. Like I'm sure you've heard "The World Over" like 100 times because I would not stop listening to it after I
I
put it
mean,
out.
it's about the same. Like,
Yeah.
sure, when Gay and Dead dropped, I listened to that a whole fucking lot.
Right.
It
But
was
we were already
probably all
dating
I
by
listened
then.
to.
So I mean, you only had like a little bit of time to do that before we moved in together.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to emotional anime raps a whole fucking lot.
Yeah.
A lot of these I've listened to like a lot, but
Well, I've listened
just
to all of
as
them.
when they came out, like afterwards they just get thrown into rotation.
I have listened to all of these countless times.
Of course.
And so okay, there is some stuff that's kind of missing from this tier list, and thankfully it's stuff that you wouldn't probably have ever heard because none of the Pure Volume albums are on here. I did like 10 plus Pure Volume albums before I had a for anybody who's never heard of Pure Volume, it used to be a music uploading site where you could host albums and songs. Initially, I was using that until I discovered Bandcamp. And so the album that's called Best of Year One is just a collection of all of the best songs from that era. None of those would make it into the upper echelons of this chart if I was ranking them individually, so it's probably better that it's just Best of Year One. But, so that's missing. And then also there's certain tracks. There's one album on here called SoundCloud Rescues, which is just everything from my SoundCloud. Actually, I don't even see that in here. Where the hell is SoundCloud Rescues? Why would that not be included? Were they just not thinking of it as an album?
This is an extremely curated list of the
That's
Digi
really
albums.
weird. Well, like everything else on my Bandcamp is here except for SoundCloud Rescues, which is, I mean, I formulated it in such a way as to have structure and function as a listening experience. I was going to say that I should just consider all the SoundCloud stuff that I haven't posted to Bandcamp to just be included in that. Because generally, every so often, I just collect all the stuff I've released and put it on like an EP or something, which is what some of these EPs are. And I have one that I was planning to release that has like the last 5 or 6 tracks I've done. But we don't even have SoundCloud Rescues on here, which would definitely be one of the better albums since it has all the off-album B-sides. It's basically a B-sides collection. If we're talking about traditional definitions. But yeah, weirdly missing, I think. But anyways, we'll just go through with the shit that's here. Let's go ahead and start ranking these bad boys. So the very first one in here is Gay and Dead. Where would you rank it?
Gay and Dead is a fucking smash hit.
Yeah.
I listened to this a lot. It was the perfect soundtrack to 2017 summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty
Very
great.
much a summer album. It was designed to be basically all singles. Really, it's funny because this is like the low rent version of what Denzel Curry would later do with Taboo.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of light to dark descent of like every song is kind of a single, though there are a few that don't have a hook and are just like a straight rap verse, but they're all pretty short. I mean, my songs are always pretty short, but like, it was just to the point bangers, more accessible than usual because aside from the fact that Shade was getting better at production and he did 4 of these tracks, and I was getting better at producing my own vocals, Blind Skywatcher, now known as Sarah Louise, also worked on this album, and she, produced most of the tracks, did most of the mixing, so it's just a lot more acceptable. than most of my music that I create by myself. Yeah, I obviously love it as well. So I think we're in agreement that it belongs in S tier, right?
I mean, yeah.
What else would be more deserving?
I agree. This could not be duplicated.
It's the most complete original album experience I've made. I would argue that some of these are just as complete of albums, but in terms of something that, that has no, I'm not rapping over someone else's beat. I mean, the beats were made by other people, but I'm not rapping over pre-existing beats. They were all made for the album. Everything on there is part of a concept, this gay and dead concept. There's a lot of variety, each track feels like it has its own unique flavor. I'm really fucking proud of it. I mean, what more can I say? I love the album.
Me too. I'm proud of you for it.
Thank you. Another one I am really proud of is this next one, The Unknown Tape, otherwise known as just the weird asterisk symbol.
It was really fun getting to see this album be put together over a large span of time.
Yes. Well, so in 2018, towards the beginning, at the same time that I was working on How They Marketed and the Denzel Curry documentary, I was also working on The World Over and The Unknown Tape. So I had all 4 of these big projects going at the same time. And then because of us moving, none of them got completed at the time. It took me I had to wait months later to finally finish The Unknown Tape, and even later than that, The World Over. But yeah, The Unknown Tape started work in whenever that first track came out, because it was only one track that I ever posted on SoundCloud, and it was the first one I did. The one that's like, and so I started, I made a bunch of the other songs at that same time, mostly just the instrumentals, and then came back to it later and finished it up. I don't want to give away too much about this album, because part of the appeal of it, in my mind, is that it is extremely cryptic and deeply emotional. Sort of the point of it was to be as uncompromising as possible. This came right after I had done Ghosts of Midwinter Ballers, I think had been the last release.
I think so too.
And basically, it's funny because a lot of people commented on this, listens to Death Grips once. It was actually listens to JPEG Mafia once. It was JPEG Mafia came out, and I was just wow, this guy really went and made his music as abrasive and challenging as he wanted it to be. And I felt I should respond in kind. I should make something that is as abrasive and challenging as what I would just naturally create if I was just making... I made everything on this album. It's completely my own beats, my own raps, my own everything.
Yeah, it's the most you experience you can basically come to.
It sounds like the inside of my mind at the deepest possible level, and it just drills lower and lower into the screaming void. There are some very emotional songs on here, very dark lyrical content that I didn't put out the lyrics anywhere, but I think you can understand a lot of it. I was kind of surprised when people were like, "Oh, can I get the lyrics to I can't understand what he's saying and scroll back," and I'm like, I can clearly understand what I'm saying and scroll back, but I did write it. I don't know. What do you think? Where would you rank this album? Because it is a harsh, abrasive experience. Not all of these songs are super listenable.
Yeah. And I think that kind of takes away from, its enjoyability to an extent. I really like getting that experience of being able to take things from your perspective, and it has a whole lot of your soul in it, and I really appreciate that. And there's a lot of creative techniques and rhythms and flows you use. Yeah. The music video for it is fucking...
Yes, I made it a visual album. I really love it.
Yeah, I
think it enhanced the experience
definitely.
A lot.
If you want to give this album a try,
particularly
do it with the visual.
Yeah, the songs that don't have as much of a clear meaning, that could just be taken as a clusterfuck, but with the visuals, it kind of grounds it into you get a sense of, okay, that's what the aesthetic is, it's a strong aid to the experience. There are certain songs on here that are sometimes I hate them and sometimes I love them. The very last track, sometimes I'm this was a stupid experiment, and then other times I'm when I think about what I, was going for, what I read into it when I made it, I'm like, well, it does inspire thoughts and emotions in me. And like, I played this album for Zen Huxtable when we were tripping or coming down off of acid, I guess. And I remember, like, I kept, like, kind of beating myself up over it because I tend to do that. Like, when I show people my stuff, I tend to downplay it and be like, oh, this part's really dumb, And he was just like, well, why are you downplaying it so hard? Like, clearly it meant something to you, or else you wouldn't have composed something this fucking weird. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess it means something, or else I wouldn't have released it, But there is a lot of songs that do have a lot of meaning to me. I personally think I would put this in the A tier.
I was going to say that as well, actually.
All right.
Especially with the visual component. It is a really interesting listen, and it is like, you can't really get something like this anywhere else. And the songs in it mean a lot to me. Like, I was there with you when you were making the songs, and like, I feel like every time I listen to them, I can kind of like recontextualize the meaning in it, and it makes me think, and I enjoy listening to it. Like, I've seen it like dozens of times.
I'm amazed that you enjoy it. Like, I was amazed that anybody enjoyed it, because like historically I used to put out, I mean, we're going to get into it later into this album list, like some pretty abrasive shit. And while I would say that the Unknown Tape is a lot more listenable than some of that older stuff, like, I used to not get any response to my music. Like, up until I started making rap songs that were, like, more accessible, I got literally no response to any of the albums I had made. No commentary, no purchases. Like, I think one guy bought BC, and, like, I had shown some of it to my friends. Most of them just thought it was dumb. Like, most of my friends weren't really into it. So, like, when I put this album out, I legitimately did not think anybody would like it. And so when it actually got like a fair outpouring of support and people legitimately saying that, like, they got something out of it. There were people who were like, wow, this is like the most interesting music you've done. And I was just like, whoa, like, I never expected that response. And it kind of restored my faith in my ability to even make music,
Definitely.
It was like, if people like me at this extreme, then I might have something to say through this medium.
It's an incredibly intimate experience. But, it's not perfect as an album. But, like, I really like how much you is in it.
I hope we get to one of my albums that that is not good at all soon, so this doesn't come off as too much of a fart sniffing video.
I mean, already I can see that that's not going to be the case for the next one.
No, all right, Above the Earth Haunted.
This is my favorite album that you have ever made.
Yeah?
Still.
Only 4 tracks, about 12 minutes, I think. But, I mean, most of my albums are short as fuck. Like, Gay and Dead, like, part of what I was going for with that album was just I wanted to make one that cracked 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, I really wanted to have an album that felt like
a
traditional complete album that would fill out 2 sides of a vinyl disc, like a real... Because that's why albums are traditionally 45 minutes, is because that's how long a vinyl can hold. And then they became 80 minutes because that's 2 vinyl, or a CD usually holds 80 minutes of music. So, like, those are, like, the kind of ideal lengths. And but, like, there's plenty of genres that favor even shorter albums. Like, if you listen to a power violence album, it's like 12 minutes long. Tony Molina's Distant Dismissed is like 11 minutes. So, like, I have a lot of respect for the short album, but, like, I just wanted to have that one, like, this is the big guy, But yeah, I mean, Above the Earth Haunted was a very specific emotion because it was right after Bedroom Bedrock, and Bedroom Bedrock was all about, like, lifting up to a new level. It was about, like, hey, the changes we're making right now are gonna lead to, like, the next stage of my career. Like, I'm making a lot more money, my friends are moving in, like, all this stuff is happening. This is like a, like, at the same time, a capitulation of just all the emotions I was feeling in general, because that one's, like, the most varied album. It's the least, like, conceptual.
Yeah.
But, like, the overarching theme is this, like, movement into the future. And then Above the Earth Haunted is like, okay, well, I've made it there and nothing's here.
It's the counteraction to that.
Yeah, that's why it's Above the Earth and Haunted. Like, I made it up there. I got up from the bedroom, out of the bedrock, and there was nothing here. I'm just floating in space now, you know? Born out of very nihilistic feelings of being sick of being sick of being alone and living in Virginia Beach and like which ironically we've come back to, but I'm not alone this time, and it's been a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's incredibly, the lyric wise, it's incredibly raw, and
yes,
it's self-deprecating in a different way than Bedroom Bedrock is, and kind of like a way that I connected with better, and the beats are very atmospheric and cool, and you can just like listen to it.
Yeah, I would say that like I tend normally towards a more aggressive kind of ennui, like a more like I'm mad at the world and lashing out. This one was very internal. It's very I'm just mad at myself. It's like even a song like Rotten, paints me as just like a nasty bastard and like losing my mind and going crazy, but like it feels sort of momentary. Whereas this album is like, this is like the deep-seated issues that are always there.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that I'm grappling with all the time.
I would listen to this album like before bed every night for a while. It's like that kind of album. Whereas Bedroom Bedrock, I'd listen to just like getting ready or like just like to have a good time. Because it's kind of like, it's a more fun time. Even if it's depressing. Like.
So for me, like, I listen to these, and of course, there's always a production angle for me. Because, like, Above the Earth Haunted is before I learned about FL Studio, so the vocals are definitely mixed kind of awkwardly, especially on, like, Seethe, which, like, a lot of people love that song, and I love that song, but I still think that, like, my voice sounds shrimpy and weak over that beat.
I like that it sounds shrimpy and weak, though, because that's, like...
Matches the tone.
It matches the tone, matches what you're communicating in the song, and it's just like it's really raw. Like that's what I'm drawn to about that particular album.
So how do you feel about the fourth track? Because it's only 4 songs, and I feel like the first 3 are a lot more immediate and lovable than the fourth one. Because the fourth track is like, it's just like a lot more spacious. It's just like a lot of just music, and it was just basically Shade fucking around with this Frank Jeff C song to submit for this Frank Jeff C compilation thing. And I really like the verse I spit at the end of the song, and I like the chorus. I mean, I like the song. I just don't think it's nearly as powerful as the other tracks.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Deadline, that's what it's called. I was fucking trying to remember.
Yes. Okay.
I'm perched up above the earth.
I can see what you're saying, but like I still liked it collectively.
So where would you rank it?
I would have to give it an S, just because like this album has meant so much to me and is one that I return to. Like, I love Above the Earth Haunted.
For me, it would probably be an A, but I'm gonna put it at S because I want to use your feelings to make this tier list.
Okay.
As the Digibro fan, like, or Trial of the Golden Witch fan, even. Because I just think that's a more interesting for me experience. All right. Ain't Yo Shit is just a 2-track, 3-minute little EP consisting of Ain't Yo Shit and Get My Bread, Fix My Head. The music video for this is the best music video I have ever done, which was all Victor. He made an incredible fucking video.
Which video was that?
The one where we destroy everything in the garage. And there's like the vertical... And then I'm, like, laying on all of it, fucking...
That is a sick music video, and...
I love that fucking
I really love the energy of it, but, like, it's not one of my favorite, like, tracks you've made. Mm-hmm. I would probably personally put it at, like, a C. Okay. Just because, like, it's not one that I would listen to.
It ain't yo shit.
Yeah, I guess so.
I love this fucking song. I'm a huge
It's just, like,
fan.
too abrasive for me.
Well, that was the point.
Yeah.
Because we were...
But, like, purposefully. Like,
I think it was not long after Gay and Dead had come out. And I think it was just, like, me thinking about certain comments people had made about some of my music, because people would often complain about the production decisions, but not always... Like, I have complaints about the production, but they're different from the complaints I get sometimes. Like, oh, your vocals are too low in the mix on this song, like on Almost Nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, people complain about how low the vocals are, and I'm like, that was the point.
Yeah, it's supposed to
that's
sound
how
like
it's
that.
supposed to sound.
I made it sound like that on purpose.
Like, it's okay if you don't like it, but that's that's how it's supposed to sound, you know?
Yeah.
So with Ain't Yo Shit, I remember I was driving you around somewhere in Rochester, and, like, I just started thinking, like, oh, man, you know, this ain't yo shit, it's my shit. And then I just thought, this ain't yo shit, bitch, this ain't yo shit, bitch. And originally I was thinking of it as more of, like, a techno song. Like, this ain't your shit, bitch, this ain't your shit, bitch, kind of thing. But I can't make that. So, like, I went home to try and make that, and what I came away with was this just insanely loud because, like, the reason my songs always come out that way is that, like, I just want it to sound like the most pummeling thing possible. Like, I always, when I produce, it's always like, I want to find the loudest noises. I want to have, like, 6 layers of sounds. I want it to just be as brutal and loud as possible. And that was, like, the first one that I completely self-produced that I released onto an album. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'd probably put it at a B. But again, I want to go with you. So we're putting it at C. Oops. Fucking Freudian mouse slip there. All right. The next one is my running album.
Oh, yeah.
Called, fuck.
9 Gallons of Fuck?
Yes,
10
Gallons of Fuck. 10 Gallons of Fuck has... It has... Okay, there's definitely some what I would describe as filler on this album.
Yeah.
And that's on purpose, because I designed this from the ground up to be a running album. Ironically, I stopped running right after I made this album.
Yeah.
Because at the time, we had been going to the gym every other day, and I would always, like, try to throw on some kind of album to run to, but, like, I could never consistently find one that was, like, good all the way through to run, and, like, I always run in this particular way where I start off slow, then I pick up to, like, max speed and go for a little while, and then I just slow down and I, you know, kind of jog or walk for the rest of the way. So the way this album is designed is that White Kanye West is, like, the warm-up song. Then when Everything is Devilman comes on, you're just meant to haul fucking ass through that and hack in, and then, like, you slow down a little for the next couple songs, and then the couple of, like, 10-minute tracks that are on the back end are just meant for you to, like, you know, to, like, power walk to and, like, just drone on and on. I mean, I enjoy all of it, but definitely the only memorable songs to me are, like, White Kanye West, which every time I listen to it, I feel differently. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I love this fucking song, and sometimes I'm like, this sounds like shit.
It makes you feel like Kanye West.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a little unbalanced.
But I love Everything is Devilman. A lot of people like hack in a lot. I think it's fun, but it's just, like, very short. It's just kind of a snippet of a song, really. It's more of an experiment than a real song. There's my Run to the Hills cover on there.
Oh my god.
There's several songs on this album were created by me just taking pieces of 2 different songs, putting them together, and singing over them, which is particularly weird.
Yeah, it's very creative.
So I don't know. How do you feel about this one? Where would you score it?
There's only a couple songs on it that I would choose to listen to.
Right. I mean, literally, I literally made this to run to.
Yeah,
so, like,
but, like, I've never run to it.
No, I did once, but I was playing it because it was... So right after I made this album, we got a treadmill. And after that point, because we weren't going to the gym and using 2 treadmills anymore, it's only been you who's used the treadmill, and you always watch Precure when you run.
Yeah.
And I just don't run. And the one time I did, I tried to play this album off of, like, the shitty embedded speaker on the computer that we had in that room.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even hear it. So, yeah, I made this specifically for myself to run to and have not been able to run to it. So I can't even speak on how it works as a running album. But, yeah, I mean, just go ahead and tell me where you would rank it.
I'd probably give this one a D.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry. There's some tracks on it that I really do think are enjoyable and fun, but, like...
It's just Everything is Devilman.
It's just, I can't listen to it as a complete album. It's not an experience that, like, I personally...
I don't listen to it much either.
...would get from running, because, like, I like to listen to EDM and fucking, like, anime music when I'm running.
Yeah.
Like...
Or Death Grips.
Yeah. And in your head, you just, like, you think, moe, 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 even to Death Grips, and it'll keep you going.
All right, have you ever listened to AC?
You've played it for me.
Okay. Do you have any opinions on it? Because I'm sure you've only heard it once or twice, if at all.
Yeah, I think I like BC more.
AC is a lot of fun for me because it's basically like, I think it's only like 9 or 10 minutes long, every track is just a really weird experiment.
Yeah.
The idea of it is that it's named AC after literally an air conditioner because it was at a time where I was working at Target and fucking my room was too hot because my mom would put on the heat and it got hotter upstairs than it did downstairs. And so I had taped up one of my air conditioning vents. And the original album cover for this was just a picture of my taped up vent. But then Trevor made me this new album cover. He made a few of the old ones.
It's pretty aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's pretty dank.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, each song is just a weird random experiment. I enjoy it. I wouldn't expect anyone else to. Where do you want me to put this one?
I'd probably give it a D.
All right.
It's not shit. It's fun.
What about BC?
I like BC a little bit more.
BC has half the songs were written by my friend Brando and have completely fucking ridiculous lyrics.
They're so fucking funny.
Most of the beats are either a cappella or just made with things on my desk. This one was heavily influenced by clipping when I found out about how they make songs. It's got a lot of attitude. There's some music videos that are hilarious.
I like the music videos a lot. I'd probably give this one a C.
All right. Oh boy, Bedroom Bedrock, my first real album. This was the first one that was a sincere effort to make something listenable and to make something that felt like a complete album experience. It's only 22 minutes long, but and 10 tracks, but I felt like whereas all my previous albums had been like 10 minutes and just a bunch of random experiments, this one I actually crafted each song with some degree of seriousness. Usually there's actually a hook, you know. It has some of my favorite songs I've ever done, such as Rotten, Humans Are Okay, fucking Failure, We Make It Look Cool.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite.
It has some songs that I like, but I have a lot of issues with. The opening track, Bedroom Bedrock, I think is too slow. It only
agree.
sounds good if you listen to it in like my mom's car for some reason. Like if you listen to it in a car with a lot of subwoofer, because Shade is all about subwoofer. Like he only goes for like super low bass tones.
I'm all
so
about
like
that bass.
so if you listen to it in something that doesn't have like an ultra low bass, it just sounds really thin. Track 2 is Rotten, which I just love. I think it's perfect. Jesse's verse is incredible. Any song that has Jesse on it usually comes out great. But at the same time, even though I say that, White Nigga and Get Action, both, I just think the beats sound cheesy as hell on those songs, and it's hard for me to go back to them. Also with Get Action, like, the verse was meant to be a lot faster than it was. Like, I know it sounds like a fairly fast rap, but it was supposed to be even faster. We just couldn't really come up with a beat that I was satisfied with. Actualize is kind of a mess because it was not written for a beat that even sounds like that. Final Stretch is chaos and headache inducing. I do like Waves at Dawn.
Put nicely. I like Waves at Dawn.
Waves at Dawn is very emotional.
I mean, honestly, I find myself returning to this album more than I want to say.
Yeah.
Because like, I just love the you that you're expressing in this album, and there's like somebody made an analysis video about this video. Like, do you remember that?
About the album?
Yeah.
Was it about the whole thing or just a specific song?
It was about the whole
I remember the guy
thing.
who did a few songs. I also remember a Gay and Dead analysis. I don't remember the Bedroom Bedrock one.
I'm pretty sure it was the whole thing. It might have just been a couple songs though, but I just thought like that was like a really cool take on it. I have a lot of fun with a lot of the songs, and it definitely is enjoyable to listen to in the car. Like, that's probably the best time to listen to it.
Yeah, it's I mean, I like it. I don't hate it. I just think the production is so clumsy. Like, it's the kind of thing that you have to listen to while thinking about the fact that, like, the appeal of this is not that it sounds great. The appeal of it is that it is a portrait of this certain set of emotions that, like, some of the songs are interesting.
Yeah, and lyrically it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably give it an A.
All right. I'm giving it all to you.
I like it a lot. Like, it's not perfect, and I think Gay and Dead, like, is just a better...
It's a leveled up version.
Yeah, it's like the evolved form.
Right.
But, I mean, there's certain things in this album that, like, are not expressed anywhere else and are very, very much conducive of the lifestyle that you're living, and anybody who is kind of like an internet denizen. Like, this is sentiments that I'm sure lots of people feel, and, like, it's relatable, and people like it, and I like it. It's pretty good.
For the record, I would probably put it in B tier myself.
Yeah.
But I also would put Ain't Yo Shit in B tier. I think BC and AC and Run With That Shit, whatever it's called, I would put all in C tier for me personally. Because I do listen to my albums more than anybody else possibly can. All right, Emotional Anime Raps 1. How you feel about that guy?
Like it a lot.
It's got 5 songs.
I used to listen to this while running when it came out.
Probably a better running album than the other one. That is
it's just like, you know, it's inspirational.
Yeah.
And like, you listen to it and it's like, oh, well.
You got For Stella the Magic, which I think is great. I mean, a lot of this album's strength comes from the fact that I'm just rapping over great instrumentals made by great fucking artists. So, For Stella the Magic, Dear Future, fucking Heat Death, the Open 2017, and then Mono no Aware. I would say Mono no Aware is my least favorite on there just because I don't like how the vocals sound and are mixed. Like, I just don't think it's that listenable. This also begins a trend of, across all of my work, of I don't practice my fucking raps enough before I record them. So, like, when I listen to them back, I often find moments where I'm just like, that would sound so much better. Like, well, because it's way easier to do it if you've heard it. Like, if you have the song and you listen to the song regularly, then you learn it better than just, like, practicing it by yourself, you know? But, I mean, a lot of these, I just write it and then I immediately record it. And I think Mono no Aware really suffered from that. But the rest of the songs are pretty good. I mean, I really like... I would say all the first 4 are, like, some of my better sounding songs, just because they're over such good instrumentals.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
Oh, boy. Do I want to give it an A or a B? I'd probably give this one an A.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I'd give this one an A
I would
for
also
sure.
give it an A.
I do think it has, like, some of your best fucking verses.
Ghosts of Midwinter Ballers. This is, in my opinion, my most underrated album.
Yeah.
I don't think it got... I like... Not that any of my albums is, like, super popular or, like, super beloved by a large number of people, but I feel like people talk about Gay and Dead and Bedroom Bedrock, and this gets left out of the conversation, even though I like it more than Bedroom Bedrock. I think it has the strongest production out of any of my albums. I love the atmosphere, that it's a concept album, but I'm doing the talking. You tell me what you think about it.
I mean, I really like that as a concept album. I think it has, like, I don't know.
There's a bunch of my best sounding tracks on it. On That Back.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Coyote
what else is
Howling
on
in
this one?
All right, it goes Trailer, On That Back, Weed Hit the Spot When You're Rockin' on My Thang Baby.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Seethe Part 2, which I remember you once telling me was one of your, like, top 5 favorite songs of mine.
Yeah.
Then
it is. It still is.
Y'all Ain't Seen Nothing, Coyote Howling in the Forest, That Feel When Putting Away the Surfboard and Getting Out the Snowboard, and then I Want to Wake Up With You for the Rest of My Life. The most romantic song that I've written.
Yeah.
The Tearjerker.
I can't think of a single one of those songs that I dislike. It's hard for me to listen to this album, though, because, like, you wrote it when we were going through, like, the weed life, right?
Yeah.
And I've, like, you know, been trying to distance myself from that.
Is it just hearing me talking about the fact that we're smoking weed all the time?
No, it's not like it's a turnoff. It's just, like, I don't, like, to me, I don't really ever think to go back to it. Because I've kind of, like, been pushing that experience away.
I see what you mean.
Like, I never really think about it as... I don't really think that much about it, and I should, because, like, it has some of your best songs on it, and I really do like the album, and fucking Coyote Howling in the Forest, can't ignore it. is amazing.
I really love
Oh
that
my
album
God.
because it was about more specific experiences, whereas like Gay and Dead is just kind of about this general attitude of being gay and dead.
Do you think
you
that
know?
that's why it didn't connect with people as much?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it was trying to connect as much, really, because like with well, it was partly that, okay, there was a lot going on at the time. Because, first of all, when I was in weed life, everybody just attributed everything I did to weed. And so when people didn't immediately click with something, it was always like, oh,
Oh,
I don't get it because it must be some weed shit.
Yeah.
Which is fucking ridiculous. And then there's also the fact that, you know, a lot of people thought I was kind of like, I don't know, selling out around this time in my music. I don't really know why.
Really?
There was kind of a perception based on like Way Up and stuff from the Manic High Manic Low album, just because I guess that song sounded more poppy. Like I was doing a little bit more sing-songy stuff and being more influenced by like what was going on in hip hop at the time, because I was listening to modern hip hop like in a way I hadn't been on previous albums. So I do think it might sound a little bit more like, you know, maybe, well, I don't know about this album, but like closer to radio music in a way. I don't know. But it definitely was meant to be more about like this very specific experience, like of living in this place, what we were going through, like, you know, when it was snowing all the time, we couldn't really leave the house, and like I'm spending all my time with you, and like we're having this really, like, our life together is really amazing, even though everything outside of it is not so great. You know, that like we're buried under all this snow, people online are like constantly attacking us, because this was around like the whole Bardock drama and shit.
Lollygate.
So like, yeah, Lollygate. So it was just about like, you know, this particular moment in time, and I feel like it was a total snapshot of that moment.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that is why it has been more difficult for me to remember and think about. Like, not just because you were smoking weed all the time, just like that I feel like I've had to kind of grow up a lot in the past like couple of months, and I just haven't really thought to go back and listen to it. Like, I want to listen to it again before I give it a score.
I see.
You know,
We
it's
listened
like,
to it not that long ago, didn't we? I know I listened to it not that long
yeah,
ago.
I'm sure tracks have come on in the car
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh, we listened to it on our drive down, because we listened to like a bunch of albums
Yes.
back to back.
We don't really listen to it a lot as a whole album.
No.
And I really haven't had time to listen to it alone.
It was
I think
also,
that's another part of it.
It was also somewhat designed to be a sex album. Like an
Yes.
album to throw on
Yes.
when you fuck. And I think it works for that purpose.
You're definitely right about
Especially
that.
if you get high first. Anyway. I would give it an A.
I want to give it an A, but like I would have to give it a B.
Alright.
Maybe if I listened to it again and like really thought about it, but like I really like certain songs on it, but like as an album experience, it's not the most memorable or evocative album, while certain songs are. It's
Yeah.
just like it almost gets too lost in the atmosphere it's creating.
I can feel that. It is definitely meant to feel like you're just buried under the snow.
Yeah.
Alright, Big Dig Samurai Nig.
Oh my god.
Big Dig, that's the Samurai Nig. You watched this happen.
I did.
This was recorded all in one
Oh,
unbroken
boy.
take of me just putting on like a 45-minute samurai beats thing, and then in my underwear in front of you improv rapping. Where would
This
you
was a
rank
fun
this?
ass time. It was really impressive to watch it all come together, like in album form.
Yeah, it has
Like-
moments.
It definitely has moments. I would probably have to give this like a C.
Oh my god, you're putting this above the above the fucking the running album. That's incredible. I mean, it at least
It's a
sounds pretty
freestyle
good
album.
because it has actual beats behind it.
Right, and like the fact that it is freestyle and like it is really fucking weird and creative and out there, and it's not super listenable experience, but you can't even say that about your best albums.
No.
So I think it's really fucking fun, and just thinking about it is making me smile.
Next up is Improv Ain't Dead. This is the one that was me and Fern and Cassette.
Is Manic High Manic Love not on here?
Oh my god, it's not. What the fuck? Why? What? How do you miss things when you're just going down the Bandcamp and selecting the images? How could you possibly have missed several of the albums? I don't understand.
Anyways, I'm a big fan of Manic High Manic Low. I'd probably give it...
I would give that one like a B.
Yeah, I'd give it a B too.
Because I really like Human Connections, and like really I just kind of like the second half. The first half is like a little bit more of a toss-up, and it's another one of those where sometimes, like when I listen to Way Up, it really depends on like the speaker system and how I'm feeling, you know?
Right.
Like sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, this is cringeworthy, and then other times I'm like, this is actually pretty great. Just depends on how I'm feeling. Heavenly could have used better voice production, but it's a really fun song.
Improv Ain't Dead.
Yeah, Improv Ain't Dead. So this is very much a... Because the early days of Trial of the Golden Witch, when it was me and my friends, was just a bunch of improv bullshit. And usually it was just one guy playing an electric or acoustic guitar, another guy playing a guitar, and then me just like making shit up over it. So... You know, Improv Ain't Dead was like a return to that, but with Fern and Cassette, and they are just, you know, more talented musicians than my friends, so it came out a little bit more listenable than most of the other projects. You know, I think I had a lot of pretty funny songs on here. Yeah. I really love He Who Smelt It, in particular, which sounds like a Cranberries or System of a Down song or something, like on acoustic.
It definitely does.
It's got stuff like Fern's, Fern's fucking I'm Gonna Vote for Bernie Sanders songs, which are pretty hilarious. You know, it's got some funny stuff. There's definitely some parts where it just meanders, but it's a journey. It's all about the journey.
Yeah, I would probably give it a C, because like I think a lot of your improv music has a lot of strengths to it. Like, sure, it's not going to be like...
I listen to it all. I listen to all my improv stuff just as much as the other stuff.
It's fucking really fun. I dig it. I encourage you to do more.
It's particularly funny in the early days because like stuff on like Best of Year One or the other albums that have this particular aesthetic that we'll get to, none of my friends gave a fuck about it at all. Like, they wouldn't listen to it. They didn't like go back and ever listen to these albums. They just participated, and then I just took the recordings, released them, and listened to them all the time. So nobody else thinks this stuff is good, even who was on it, and nobody on the internet ever gave me any reaction, except, well, there was a little bit, but not, it was like 2 or 3 people, you know, who ever listened to this. I just like it. Fuck Off Mixtape. This is actually, like, kind of low-key, like, my favorite album I've done.
It's great.
Because it's just a collection of songs. It was not intended to be an album. It was mostly just tracks I happened to have laying around that were all just really aggressive, and I had thrown in a couple of new ones. But yeah, it's just like a really kind of, it's just a very distilled version of my sound. Like, I just think it's the sound I do the best, is like that kind of raspy, aggressive, fuck off sound. And so, like, this is my favorite one to just throw on and listen to. Aside from the fact that it has the stupid freestyle on it, which is just too long. The like 5-minute edgelord maximum freestyle. I'm a rapist. I'm a rapist. I like it enough that I wanted it on the album, but it is, I do skip it most of the time. But like, I don't know, man. I love Lane Switch, Tunneling, fucking Dick Up Out My Bitch is like one of my top 3 songs I've ever done. Fucking 10th Dimensional Daimao, which has you on it.
Oh my god, it does. Oh my god.
Dust Force is like my favorite song I've ever made.
It's incredible. There's a lot of
Killing 'Em is a lot of fun. Feel Me is pretty okay.
This is the new zeitgeist in as far as Digibro music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so far as the Trial of Golden Witch, I'd say.
Like the most recent one that you consider to be.
Yes.
All right, where would you? What would you rate it?
As an album, it doesn't really sound like an album. That's
No.
like where a lot of my
It is
problems.
very much a B-sides collection.
Yeah.
I mean, all of my albums, none of them are like written in such a way where I have the formula like cracked beforehand. It's more like I fit them together.
No, definitely, but like there are some that are
Much
more
more cohesive.
listenable and cohesive as album experiences. Well, this one isn't necessarily not an enjoyable album experience. It's not as thought through.
There's
as,
definitely
like,
certain
Gay and
songs
Dead.
that clearly wouldn't be on there if it were a more formulated album. Like
Yeah.
Feel Me probably belongs on something different. But like this is kind of a B-side. Oh, it also has All of a Sudden on it. All of a sudden I be getting B-side to me left and right.
I fucking have to give it an S still.
I think I do too.
It's fucking fantastic.
It's probably my favorite after
Oh
Gay
my
and
gosh.
Dead and The World Over, which we'll get to. Emotional anime raps too. This has opens up with like in my opinion the best sounding song I've ever done with Jesse blowing it out of the fucking water with his verse. Like I already had two verses I was extremely proud of and this great hook and I was like, yes, I've really killed it. Let's see Jesse try to kill me on this track. And then it came out and everybody was like, oh man, Jesse's verse is fucking so good. And I was like, God fuck, I was so bitter I couldn't even admit it at first. I was like, Jesse's verse isn't better than mine. And then I listened to it enough times and I was like, his verse is so fucking good. The part where he just screams, ah, you don't fucking have a soul. Yeah, I love that song. Other than that, though, I don't know if I think it's as strong as the original emotional anime raps.
Yeah. I mean,
It's got When They Cry, featuring Big Dig. It's got Sad Boy Anthem, which we did a music video for together.
oh my god.
The fourth track, Smoking Gun, also featuring Big Dig, which is a lot of fun but not really emotional. And then the Blue Mayo song that was originally made for the Finish or Fail video.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't have the same cohesion as the first one does. It's really just kind of 5 tracks of me rapping over anime music.
Yeah, it's just more anime music raps. That are
I had to
great.
fuck with the format a whole lot to make it sound even as cohesive as it does. Like I kept changing the track order because I wasn't sure about it, whereas the original was like very easy to put in the order it was.
I would have to give it a B. It's just like
think that's
it
fair.
doesn't stick as much as the first emotional anime raps, but like some of the songs are
But
really
Faith in
tight.
Humanity is god tier. All right. So this one I'm very curious to hear how we're going to feel about because it's The World Over. And this was my fucking baby. And I'm never going to be happy with the fact that this album didn't have that much impact. I mean, there's people who like it. There's people who have appreciated it exactly how I wanted them to, like John J. Renz and Mr. Tangelo, and I'm like, cool. At least my guys get it. But like this album to me is like it's like this album, man. Like I put my heart and fucking soul into this album. And granted, it's just me rapping over music from Dot Hack. Like I can't even lay claims to originality here. I just took a bunch of instrumental songs from both Dot Hack Sign and Legend of the Twilight, organized them into a playlist, and wrote lyrics over them. But, like, I really fucking worked on those lyrics. It's a concept album, a cyberpunk, apocalyptic album that's a scathing takedown of internet culture today.
Yeah.
A biting, emotional treatise on what I had experienced on the internet. What's some other flowery language I could use to describe this fucking thing? And when it came out, I couldn't stop listening to it for a few days.
Yes.
Now I listen to it, and I go, man, okay, first of all, Genuflect, one of my favorite songs I've done. Tetragrammaton Labyrinth, Talk That Nothing to Me, The Other, fucking... You know, I particularly the first like 6 or 7 tracks I'm really in love with. There's some on here that are interesting but a little unbalanced, like Mortal Contact. I tried recording several different versions of it. I could never just get it to sound good, so I just kind of went with the one I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
The opening track, I think the last part of it is incredible. Everything up to that point is it's pretty good. I know you like the one based on the song Aura Borea.
I do.
And then the later part of the album is where shit just gets fucking weird. And I love that. I love those songs because they're fucking weird. They're not necessarily like iPod worthy, ultra listenable tracks. There's the one where I sing Seafarer's Requiem. So I don't know. I mean, for me, this is S tier, but I really want to know what you think.
I really like it. I just like don't feel as strongly about it as the stuff I would put in S tier. Mm-hmm. You know, I would put it in A tier.
What do you think is the problem with this album that prevents it from being?
Probably that it is .hack music.
Yeah.
Probably that it's not like. I think it's really creative that you turned this album into like an art project that you made, and I really like what you bring to the table, and I think it's an improvement upon listening to just the album itself. But
well, I mean, it's not just a .hack.
No, I know.
It's like a collection of songs.
Yeah.
From them, because there's a fuckload of .hack.
No, music. I fucking know. But I just like didn't have the boogie pop appeal that I'd say like a lot of what makes Trial of the Golden Witch, Trial of the Golden Witch. Yes.
Just a little too
it's
weird.
Just a little too
unrelatable.
A little too abstract, untangible. But also that is a strength to it, right? Because like the stories get like Aura Borea is like that's a fucking it's an experience.
Yeah.
The album itself is an experience, and like sometimes I listen to it and like I feel more strongly about it than
it's
I do
hard
at
not
other
to
times.
listen to all the way through.
Yeah, exactly.
Individually, like if I judged it track by track, I don't think it's as good of an experience as just listening to the whole album and treating it like a sort of small movie, an OVA maybe.
I think it's mega interesting, and I do dig it a whole lot.
All right.
It's just not my favorite thing that you've made.
Yeah. I mean, it's not mine either, and that's the funny thing about it, is that it's like, even though I poured so much into it, and like, I feel like on an intellectual level, it's my favorite, but like, if I throw on Gay and Dead or Fuck Off Mixtape, I'm going to have more fun, Like, I'm gonna have a more fun time, and I'm gonna want to experience it more often.
But that's not really, like, I think listenability is a big factor into how an album is going to rate in your mind, but like fun isn't the only thing that I go to music for.
Right.
And I think what this album does is great and really strong, and like it does have this great narrative and really experimental and interesting kind of thematic composition. It's really cool. Like, I like it a whole lot. I just, like,
it's
as
not the same.
Music, it's, like, it's different, you know? I think maybe if you maybe made, like, a visual for, like,
I fucking want to, especially for, like, there's a few tracks that I have, like, particularly Genuflect. I have, like, a very clear idea of a video that I could make and want to, but it would be a lot of effort, and, I don't know if I can expend that on it.
Right.
Because I can't monetize this in any way. It's fucking stolen music, so it's just a mixtape, But, well, I guess we're putting it in the A tier.
Yeah. I do want to listen to it again. We should listen to it after this video.
Dude, every time anytime I even think about my music, I immediately go down a rabbit hole of listening to, like, everything I've ever made.
There's
and
so
it's
much
always been that
shit.
way. Even back in the Pure Volume days, even when I didn't like a lot of it, like, when I hear one, I just get locked into this mindset of, like, I gotta explore this because, I mean, my music is largely used to express things that I struggle to express otherwise, Either musically, even if it's just in the beat choices and arrangement. Like, the world over, before there were lyrics for it, I had already put together a playlist of it, and I would listen to it all the time and, like, try to get this... Like, why did I choose these tracks? Why am I ordering them this way? What is the story that is trying to come out of this to me, And so, like, because of that, it's like when I listen to my music, it kind of activates this part of my mind and I want to understand it better, so I just listen to all of it, trying to get in there and try to explore it and figure out why am I doing this, and where do I go from here at the same time. So next up is fucking This Ain't It, Chief, a meme that's already dead, which is fine because the album is just, it was literally just a collection of songs that I didn't think were that good. Like, that's the conceit of the album, is the songs are not that great. It has 7.4 billion on it, which is okay. That was a beat I made out of I'm gonna have to actually open up the fucking album just to remember what all is on it.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, and I want you to see that, like, I have organized my albums by how much I like them. So, like, if you want to see my tier list, this is my tier list. They are organized by what I consider to be the quality, not by release order. I don't know why Manic High, Manic Low, or SoundCloud Rescues got skipped, and Genuine Article I don't think is on the tier list. I mean, it's just one song.
Yeah,
it was Fractals on there?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. We had to be sure. Well, it's not purely just how much I like them. There's also an element of accessibility. Like, I tried to put stuff that's more listenable at the top, but, listenable often relates to quality. So, like, a lot of these, as it says, it's a monument to failure. A lot of these were from albums that I was planning to make and just gave up on. So, like, Rainy Lenny was originally going to be on this Tonkatsu DJ Agetaro mixtape thing that I was doing. Fell apart. Twisted Transistor, the Korn cover. I was going to make a whole album of covers of nu metal songs. That's the only one I did. On That Ragnarok shit was going to be on an album called Rap Metal Ain't Dead Until I Say So, where I was making beats out of metal songs. And a bunch of these, like, I did work on other tracks. I just never finished any other tracks. Listen Homie is the intro to the live action fucking Stealing Your Dads that have still never come out. The Shintaro Kago rap, which is just because I did the Shintaro Kago video. Blackout Curtains was an Acid Girl song. That's a whole project I have to do a fucking Dead Projects Graveyard on. And When Will They Build the World I Want to Live In? My acapella rendition of a punk song idea I had.
This one sucks and bound to
Be the villain till we get it right. I mean, sticky ass hook, I guess, because you remember it.
Oh, yeah.
So where would you rate this album?
I really like a lot of the songs on here.
Yeah, which ones do you like?
Like 7.4.
7.4 billion strong, 7.4 billion
I
weak.
dig the Shintaro Kago rap.
Yeah, I mean, this one
on
just...
that Ragnarok shit.
This one doesn't function as an album in any way.
No, it doesn't.
Some of these songs are okay. I mean, obviously I don't hate any of them or else I wouldn't have put them on an album.
Right.
But, I do throw away songs that I think are that bad. But
I'd give it a C.
Okay.
It's a good time, I don't hate any of the songs on it. It's just like...
All right. Best of year one. I don't know how much you've really heard this one.
I think I've heard the whole thing, right?
But, like, have you heard it more than once?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
This one's really close to my heart because I had already heard all these songs a million times back when I had, made all those old albums. I put together what I consider to be the best of all the releases. So this is a best of album of like 11 or 12 albums. I obviously think these songs are all pretty okay since I selected them out of my, miasma of bullshit to put in here. So I like this thing, and I've listened to it countless times. But I don't think it's really listenable in a very traditional sense. Do you think you have a score for it?
I don't think I could, in good faith, score it.
No?
No, because I can't even remember the last time that I listened to it,
Okay. I would put it in B tier. I think that since you put Improv Ain't Dead in C tier, and there's no way you would like this one as much. Well, maybe you would. I mean, I don't know. It depends. Because this one has songs like That Ass Is So Clean You Could Eat Off of It, and Shambu Galay, and Pube Pneumonia, which are just so fucking absurd that I can sing along. These are improv songs that I have memorized and can sing along to. That's the level on which I enjoy the pure abject insanity of these songs.
Right.
All right, we can just leave it off, I guess. We don't have to rank it.
Yeah, I just don't feel right scoring it. if I can't remember what it's like to listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's an improv album, so it's like, if I listen to it, I can, like, easily, you know, give it a tier rating after listening to it, because it's, like, the full experience. It's just, it's improv. You can come back to it a million times, but, like, you're not going to have an expanding understanding of what it is. It's just, like, momentary.
Yeah. I think they're all improv. I mean, there's some covers in there, but they're improv covers.
Right.
They were not practiced. CC mixtape. This was... So I had made AC, and then I made BC purely by coincidence. And then I noticed the trend and went, I have to do every letter of the alphabet.
Yes.
So I did CC, never finished DC. But what do you think of the CC mixtape?
What's on the CC mixtape?
It's nothing you've probably returned to, but it's got... my favorite is the first track, Smoke. Too much smoke, choking up my lungs night. Whitewash is just a bunch of screaming. Incessant is about Tumblr being annoying. Hate, torture, drowning. This one's not that great. A lot of these tracks are pretty unmemorable. I would describe this one as kind of forced, because I just thought I gotta make CC the next mixtape. And so, like, they're all kind of random experimentation, and I mean, I probably made the whole album in like 2 days, which is true of all these super old ones. So, like, I don't know, even I would probably put it at like C or D tier. Might even put it at D tier, honestly.
I would probably put it in D tier. I don't think it's...
I like AC more than CC. AC and BC more than CC. All right. It's time for Big Dig 2. What was the full title of this one? The Origin Story. Volume 2, The Origin Story.
Click it.
So this is the one. This one has a lot fewer tracks because it was recorded literally while I was designing the character at RadCon 3.
Yes.
So I'm just doing character creation, listening to a beat album, and rapping over it, improv. I thought this one was funnier than the first one. I mean, I curated it more.
Yeah, I think it's
component.
funnier too. I would probably also put this in C tier. Like,
right. So
it's fucking fun if you're into the deep lore of Big Dig, you know.
Yeah. Next up is Fractals from the artist Vapor Noise, which is, aside from the opening warning track, just it's literally vaporwave but noise, like where I just took songs and made like multi-layered them, slowed them down a little, and like pitch shifted the different layers to just make it sound like a fucking cacophony. The main inspiration for this was that I kind of liked the song Purple, Yellow, Red, and Blue by Portugal the Man, but I thought that it just didn't go hard enough. So I remade it into a song that I would enjoy more. And that's what that is. It sounds like a nightmare. The next one is Do You Love Me Too, a Enigma song that I fucked with, and then 2 different versions of the song Open Your Heart that I rap over in the, Open 2017. The only one I ever listened to is the Purple, Yellow, Red, and Blue one. The other 2 are completely superfluous.
Would you put this one in shit tier?
No, I would put it in C tier because I completely enjoy it, and I've listened to it hundreds of times. We're going to get to the stuff I would put in shit tier. Believe me, we haven't gotten there yet.
No, I know.
But what do you think of Vapor Noise?
How many times have I listened to this?
I don't know, probably never.
Yeah,
I'm sure I forced it on you at least once.
I don't know, dude. I can't score this.
You can put it in shit tier if you want to.
I don't even know if I think it's shit tier, though.
All right. Do you remember, like, any of these? Have you really listened to any of these
I remember
albums?
the one with the lady holding wine. Which one is that?
That's Cougar Life.
Yeah, I remember that one. I think I clicked on it once.
The Cougar Life Sessions.
Oh my god.
All right.
Oh boy.
Should I just rate the rest of these myself based on my own taste?
Wait, what's the last one?
That's Live Noise.
Yeah, I think I remember that one. Isn't that one that we've listened to? No.
No way.
No.
That's by far the worst one.
Are you sure?
That's Please Delete This
Okay,
tier.
I honestly then I don't know.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So I think what we should do is we should consider this to be your completed Trial of the Golden Witch tier list. I'm not gonna fuck with it or anything, but I am gonna just tier the rest of it myself.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna put Vapor Noise in C tier because I enjoy it. Best of Year One is going in B tier. Speak Up. So Speak Up and Say. These were both recorded when Brandon Tolentino got a loop pedal. And so he was basically able to create an entire song by himself just by looping his own guitar playing over itself. The first one is pretty mediocre. Nothing all that memorable on here. Maybe B-Flow Main and You. It like my vocals, I was like way too far away from the microphone, so my vocals like super in the background and drowned out, and they're kind of annoying that they're even there. Speak Up, on the other hand, I actually really enjoyed all of these songs. I made music videos for all of them, or like AMVs basically. Do you remember that? I showed you like one has like Yoshi's Island and all these videos. So this is like one of my favorite ones that we did as me and Brandon, back then. So I'm gonna put Say in shit tier and Speak Up in like D tier. Blue Desert Train was the last full improv album I had done with my friends in like the traditional style where I sat them all down and we just played shit for like an hour. Some of these songs are fun. Shampoo is pretty fun. The End of the World as We Know It cover, song about trains. Most of these are pretty dog shit. The best song on here is the bonus track, 4th of July. You all need to listen to this. It's the one where Victor is singing the national anthem. Except it's a crass, crude version, and then it turns into a fucking nightmare. It turns into one of the most horrifying pieces of audio ever created, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Good.
What the fuck? Dark Gazer isn't in here either. Where the fuck is the Dark Gazer single? And I'm Coming Over. What is this shit? Why did you miss so many things? Why would you put all this other stuff in there and miss these things? Dark Gazer, I would put at...
I mean, to be fair, I'm Coming Over has no art.
No, it's true. They could have just put a blank. Maybe, no, there's not secretly one there. I would put Dark Gazer at either D or C tier. The only good part of it, so it's 2 tracks that were improv, but with like more people than usual. We actually had a drummer in the form of my cousin Boyd, who can actually play drums. But the only good part is at the end of the 16-minute track, the last like 5 minutes are an actually pretty great punk song that I am very proud of, and I don't know how it happened. I don't know how anything that good came out of that motley crew. But that would be enough to get it up to D tier. The rest of it's forgettable. I'm Coming Over, like either D or shit tier. It's just 4 different covers of a 1-minute song that somebody made in a YouTube video on a Barbie keyboard one time. But Blue Desert Train, I think I'll put... It really belongs in shit tier, but I just like the screaming ending song so much. Yeah, it's going in shit tier. Cougar Life is more improv with... This one was where my friend Trevor got involved. All Sulphur Down Here is a kind of okay song. Unsatisfied is a good drone track that I've used in some videos before. So I'd put that one in D tier.
Perfect.
Then we've got Life Without Silence. This is just really fucking bad atmospheric music that I recorded by my... Because it used to be that if I couldn't get my friends to do anything with me, all I knew how to record was like room noise and shit. Like I would literally just hold the microphone up to like my air vent and then like scritch on a piece of paper and that would be a song. Like, like that's literally what this song is.
Yes.
Then you've got stuff like this.
Oh my god.
So that's Life Without Silence. I think
Life with Silence.
I think I would give that a shit tier. Then you got the Cheese Luna demos. This is another one that was with Trevor. This one's got some atmosphere. It's kind of a okay listen. I think I could probably put it in D tier. Drape on Me Your Veil of Cynicism. This is just 4 songs I had written that were just meant to be like folk songs, but I had no way of performing them. So it's just me slapping on a desk and singing. They're kind of memorable songs. They're just not songs. So I'd put it in D tier. My friend, Have We Spoken in a While? This is another improv one with my friend Marcus. These songs hold up a lot better than any of the other ones of these, so I'd put it in D tier. Let's Dronegasm is a dog shit drone album that you should never listen to. And Live Noise is not even music. I would just describe it as horse shit. And the only reason that I haven't just deleted these is that I feel bad about removing anything from the internet ever. And, like, I want to maintain it in its original form, but, like, you really should not listen to any of these 3. Like, not that you should really listen to most of this stuff, but you definitely should not listen to these 3. So, that's, I'm going to say, the completed, but, you know, we're missing fucking Manic High, Manic Low. Where would you have put that?
Manic High, Manic Low I would have given probably like a low B.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And the other stuff that was missing, I don't think you had heard before. So, yeah. And then also, what could have, because I don't know who made this, because I think they did it on Twitter, and I had been talking to my Discord about if anybody made it, they should include this screen cap I had of the unreleased How I Distract Myself. So this is another just collection of songs I had laying around on SoundCloud. We've got Numbers, Biting Cold, which was released in the first care pack, Snow Hellation, which is another SoundCloud, Y'all Don't Make No Fucking Sense, Bread and Butter, Sleep Never Came, my Invalid Litter Department cover, and then the God on Man's Road song that was in the second care pack. I was thinking about putting also the Ninja War Dog song on here. Initially I didn't, because these are all songs I self-produced, and that one is me rapping over a Tenshu song, but I might just include it anyway, because I don't think I'm going to get sued by Tenshu. Also, I might just make this free download, because it's not very good, but I mean, you know these songs, so where do you think you would rank this one?
This one I'd probably give it a D.
No. Yeah, D.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean,
I've low quality songs.
Given, like, I think I'm a little bit harder on your music than you are.
Well,
like,
yes.
I would probably put all of that shit that you did.
You put this one in the C though. I think this one's just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't it, Chief. I mean, this one, I think Numbers is a pretty
Numbers
good song.
is good.
Biting Cold is fun.
Elation is.
Bread and Butter.
Bread and Butter is fine.
Well, okay, these are actually all dog shit. Never mind. It definitely is a D tier album.
I would put
which is why I haven't even released it, because I was like, is this even worth releasing? I just like having all of my songs on Bandcamp.
No, right?
It's
great.
Because I'm always, with SoundCloud, I'm always worried that I'm going to have to delete them eventually, because I keep running out of space.
Look at how much good music you've made, though.
Yeah. Not as much as shit, but...
I mean, you literally just said you don't delete anything.
It's true.
So, like, a lot of amateurish or just weird nonsense is going to be on there. Like, even if you have tracks you didn't put out, you're still going to put it in an album. Like, you're not going to not release music.
It's true. All right, everybody. Well, that took longer than I expected when there were so few albums, but I can't help myself.
It didn't take 3 hours, though.